trip from Bangalore to Puttaparthi is a perfect metaphor for the spiritual journey. Chaos and confusion in the beginning, but then the road becomes broad and smooth for a while. Why take the trip? That question has been asked of spiritual seekers since the beginning of history. Why go thousands of miles to be near a spiritual master? Well, every person has his own reasons, but underneath all is that basic drive of human beings to grow in awareness. And once you've gotten on that path, no trip is too long or road too bumpy. This one soon becomes straight and narrow. The road that leads from Bangalore to Puttaparthi in South India, a 3 to 4 hour drive, goes through villages with blasting sound systems and quaint customs. Some moments of despair, but often smiling faces. The metaphor holds. There are numerous obstructions. The magnet that draws people to Puttaparthi is a man born here, Sathya Sai Baba. The meek and downtrodden, as well as the powerful and mighty, flock round him. They say he's divine, a fully enlightened being. Finally, we sense that we're entering the promised land, Puttaparthi, 9 kilometers. Puttaparthi is like every other Indian village except for the many stores selling pictures, cassettes, and books about Sai Baba. Entering Prasanthi Nilayam is to the physical journey what entering nirvana is to the spiritual journey. All trivia is shed. Hundreds of people, each worshiping in his own way. The blasting loudspeakers of the village are replaced by pleasant music. The air is calm, the grounds clean and uncluttered. They say they come here because they find their own spiritual growth augmented when they're in this atmosphere where everyone is a seeker, but particularly because being near an avatar speeds the process. They come from every religious background and every ethnic group. Of course, practical things must be taken care of, like where to live, so they head for the accommodations office. For visitors, there are a dozen large buildings called sheds, and 6 of these large round buildings, each housing several hundred. They're an equal number for more permanent residents. People from all parts of the world find a common bond here. Germany, Mexico, Australia, England. The books tell of a man now in his 60s who, from early youth, had psychic powers. He has in the past and still does heal people of terminal diseases. Dozens of books have been written about him. He lives quite simply in this building called the Mandir, with its large courtyard where he holds darshan twice daily. The children sit in the center, the women on the right, and the men on the left. darshan is held twice a day, the audience seems never to lose its feeling of suspense about seeing him again. When he appears, the feeling of awe and reverence is almost tangible. Many present letters asking for advice or help. Baba asks nothing for himself, but encourages his followers to spend their money on good works, like building hospitals and schools.
And I met Baba 4 years ago in a dream. He came to me in a dream and he called me to come here. And then I came here and I had a big change in my life because he healed me from a very bad illness. I mean, it's wrong to say he healed me. He showed me how to heal myself. This was the biggest experience I had. And then I had 2 interviews with him, which were really great, which really changed my life totally, to get his vibrations, to know who I am, because he shows us who we are. He showed me how to heal myself from a very bad depression. I couldn't move anymore. I was so much depressed I couldn't move anymore. I was a teacher in Germany and I was sent on pension because of that. And then I came to Baba and he really gave me my life force. He showed me how to organize my life, how to be positive, how to realize the way, how to find the God within. Well, he teaches me how to love myself with all my imperfections, with all my so-called faults, because we don't have faults. It's just our energy pattern, and we should love it, we should accept it. When we accept and love ourselves, then we can accept and love the whole world and everyone, our neighbors, our children, our husbands. And, you know, I speak of husbands because I had 2, and because I didn't love myself, these marriages broke off. And he taught me what I did to myself and what I did to my family.
Signs reminding followers to stay on the path are displayed in a number of places. On the main street, where the traffic is heaviest, a blackboard carries the thought for the day. Some simply read it and pass on, but many fill notebooks with these aphorisms. In the bookstore, there are many books about Baba written by dozens of authors, but the 3 that have probably had the most impact were written by an Australian named Howard Murphet. The day in the ashram starts early. At 5, women gather in groups to go through the streets singing spiritual songs. The men do the same. A frequent visitor describes her day. Ellen Young from Ojai, California.
The day starts with Omkar, and that's 21 Oms that it's held in the Mandir, and everyone gathers inside the Mandir in the temple, and it's a very purifying way to start the day. Following that is Nagasan Kirtan, which everyone gathers outside of the women in one group and the men in another group, and they walk through the streets singing bhajans. bhajans are sacred songs that purify the atmosphere once again. Following that, we line up in queues or in lines for the women all line up in one spot and the men are quite separate in another spot. And you get to pick a number. The head of each line picks a number out of a little sack, and then if you're number 1, you get to go sit in the front line, which means you get to be closer to Swami when he walks through the crowds in the morning. Swami comes out for darshan usually between 6:30 and 7 o'clock in the morning. And his darshan is the reason that we're all here. His darshan is the most beautiful experience in the world. Just darshan means the sight of the Lord, and when you look at the Lord, when you look at Swami, it absolutely is the most beautiful experience you can ever have. It cleanses you, it draws you closer to Him, it makes you part of Him, it changes whatever needs to come away from you so that your love is there for you to see. After darshan, I usually remain seated and wait for him to come out again, because in about an hour and a half there will be bhajans, which are sacred songs once again. But I like to stay there because a lot of times he comes out several more times and goes across right in front of usually where I sit to the Purnachandra, and you get to see him once again. And the Indians say that the sight of the Lord absolutely cleanses you. It takes away your past karmas, all your past things that you've done in every lifetime. You get cleansed. So the more you see him, the more you are cleansed. So anytime you see him is beautiful and wonderful. And even if he doesn't look at you, you know, even if you just see him as a dot in the horizon, he's there and he's cleansing you and he's loving you and feeling really close to you. Bhajans start at 9 and they go from 9 to 9:30. And once again, this is sacred sound, and sacred sound is a vibration that absolutely purifies you. And what it purifies is your mental body, your emotions, your physical body, so that all of this is washed clean, so that what's really you, the love that's inside of you, is just there. After that, there's usually a talk by someone like Drucker or other people, and this is at 10 o'clock, and this is for an hour, and this is usually Swami's teachings, and this is also wonderful. At 11 is lunch, and lunch is in the canteen, and there's a women's canteen and a men's canteen, and it's cost about 2 rupees or 3 rupees, which is equivalent to about 18 cents American. And after lunch, usually I rest, and most people rest for a couple of hours, and I come back out to wait to line up once again for darshan in the afternoon around 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock, we do the lines once again and pick the numbers, and it's very exciting to see who gets to be closest to Swami this time. And you know he's putting you exactly where he wants you. You can sit anywhere, and if it's your turn to be in the front row, you'll be in the front row, and if it's not, you won't. He puts you everywhere because he does everything. Then he comes out again, and once again you get to see him, you get to watch him be with all his devotees, and you get to experience his love. He's just pure love, and you get to experience this. And then he goes away, and I sit there once again. I don't leave, because he might come out again. I might get to see him once again. And I stay until bhajans again in the afternoon, and that's at 5 o'clock, 5:30, and from 5:30 to 6, we sing